Hey, good morning, everybody. I just realized again yesterday, I keep forgetting yesterday was my birthday, so I ended up not unwrapping these. I took myself out for a half roaster chicken and some hummus. So this morning I was just going to work here real slow and address a couple of questions and clear some things up that were brought to my attention yesterday online. First off, folks are asking why we continue to make EDC4s rather than GSO 5.1s or something like that. These EDC4s, we weren't planning on having some of these production issues. We already had materials for some of these things on order. We were already committed to some of these materials. So when the things happen with the Magnacut and the things continue to happen with the Magnacut, we didn't really have a bunch of outstanding orders for things to finish in this thickness of stock. So we did the next best thing here in the face of this situation. We consolidated all those materials in that thickness to one model. This is something we can make very well and very efficiently. So that's the move we made. This is giving us the energy to absorb some of what I believe are material deficiencies with the Magnacut. So that was the reason behind that. Also, I don't cut this because I like to save this foam for reusing it. So that's the answer to that. And why we're not making more GSO 5.1s right now is because some of the materials in the Bowler and Udahome grades, in those thicker sheets, there's a very high import tariff on those. The 3/16 or 0.188 is a limit for the import tariffs, and the tariffs get pretty expensive above that thickness just because of some laws that I'm not sure what they were supposed to be about. I think anti-dumping duties or something that was originally aimed at, I believe, China, but I think due to some lobbying efforts, the European grades also got wrapped up in that. So a lot of that stock isn't just laying around for things like the 5.1 here. So once you get above a certain thickness, there's just higher tariffs. So the stock is very expensive to get imported and to just sit around on a warehouse floor. So at the quantities we work with, those materials aren't as available right now, but we do have a look at some different materials that are grade equivalents to some of these US materials or the next most similar thing. So we are looking at what the lead times are for that to get that over here and rolled and completed. To a certain extent also, Bowler's powder capacity for these PM grades is maxed out right now. They are building a new powder facility, but that's going to take time. So things just need to be scheduled and planned out. Even working with Niagara Specialty Metals sometimes, there's, depending on what their rolling schedule looks like and what the production schedule is for Crucible Industries, the company that makes the base material. Some of those materials in different thicknesses can be 8 to 16 weeks out, depending on what's going on, what time of year it is, what just happens to be around in ingot form to be able to roll into sheets. So we're just making the best of the situation with materials we had, and then we're planning for a better tomorrow. So if you're seeing these right now, that's because that's what was right in front of us. It was the most intelligent decision in the face of some of these other things. This also reduces machine changeovers so we can make a bunch of something without having new setups and losing time for trying to make a bunch of different models. So these are really functional, they're really nice. So that's the reason for that. So what was the next question? Oh yeah, I'd like to clear something up and honestly clear the air with Tim. He and I already talked about it yesterday. Some folks are trying to pick apart one or two words in my video somewhere where I said I studied Chris Reeve and I toured their shop. I meant exactly what I said. I toured Chris Reeve's shop. It's Tim Reeve running it now, his son. Chris has been out of that game for quite a while, but sorry, I'm missing stuff. But I toured their shop at Tim's invite to gain a better understanding of where the folks at Millet Knives went so wrong in their execution of this. All those guys came from Millet or from Chris Reeve Knives. So since they mishandled me as a customer so badly, I was just trying to figure out, what their processes were and where things went wrong with how they handled me. And to an extent, since I had to take over the manufacturing, I was trying to see if there was any lessons I could learn while over there. So I was very much studying their shop and looking at their processes. I know enough now to know what I'm looking at. So if there's, somebody has a more efficient process or they're doing something different that could benefit my small business, looking at it, a larger company and how they do things, I very much study everything everywhere that I go. I soak things in and look at how I might be able to apply anything in any industry to what I'm doing. But just to clear that up, we do things very similar. There wasn't really anything other than some plastic bins. I still, Tim, if you're listening to this, I still want to know what those plastic bins are. I lost that photo and I'm really mad at myself over that. They're really nice for carrying parts and stuff around the shop, and they're small and very stackable. But so I hope that for the few trolls clinging onto a few words trying to create a new story out of that, I hope that clears the air. That's going to lead into another large thing. Somebody sent me a thing from a maker company. I haven't looked into it. It was evident to me this was more of a marketing piece, so I didn't really pay much attention to it. But it has had 2 or 3 people reach out to me regarding it, so I'd like to clear it up. Tim rather, he thought I had a bad take on this yesterday, so I had reached out to the folks at Niagara Specialty Metals. And this is regarding the CPM Magnacut and that whole situation I'm really tired of talking about. But Tim reached out in response to some things and thought that I had a bad take in how I finally presented this information, where I'm making Niagara and Crucible out to be the enemy. Tim is a legacy guy. It's Chris's shop, so he's running it now, but he's known those people for a long time. So looking at Tim's position on it, I wanted to believe he was right, that this, the money they offered me was just for compensation for lost materials, and in his opinion, very generous compensation for lost materials, which on its face, that does sound nice. So I did again reach out to the attorney representing Niagara Specialty Metals just to clarify. And I said, Tim suggested maybe this is just a big misunderstanding and perhaps how the attorney presented the information to me. But I didn't have to wait long to... I apologize. I had the cat rubbing on my leg there, and that was a little distracting. He's looking for some pets this morning. But like I was saying, I didn't have to wait long to get a response to clear up that issue, where they very much do want me to sign a non-disclosure agreement and pull my videos and stop criticizing the CPM quality. So that leads right back to my original position in my counteroffer video that, I just want to make knives, honestly, and I'd love to walk away from this, but if I sign a non-disclosure agreement, I can't continue to talk about some of the things I'm seeing with these materials. And if I continue to have loss associated with that there's no compensation for, and I can't talk about it with you guys, that's not really a situation I want to engage with. I would be happy to walk away from this issue and walk away from this, what I think is a more problematic material with a lot of deficiencies in it. There's a lot of high percentage of visible voids in this material. So I sent that back over to Tim and showed him, and he said, yep, there it is from the horse's mouth. But I think that's a lot for somebody to accept, especially in his position. He's been working with those people for a long time. So the position's clear from their attorney's emails that I would need to sign an NDA. And that leads into another thing with that. So we were denied a warranty claim at the end, and we wouldn't sign an NDA. And honestly, we didn't even hear back about any reports until I posted some things publicly about emails that, starts questioning the overall quality of Magnacut. But there was no warranty solution. In the end of the day here, they denied our warranty claim based on reports and evidence they will not share with us. So I don't know how you can deny a claim but then also deny me the evidence supporting that claim. And now they're refusing to return my samples. My material samples are being held hostage up there so that they're doing some new reports now, which to me just indicates you never did reports to begin with. So they came at me really strongly with this position that they had several reports indicating the issues that I've been sharing with them at all process stations here. This isn't just a finishing thing, which is going to lead into another point here. You can see in my previous email, if you stop and read the email or the videos, if you stop and read the emails contained in there, I was seeing this at every stage of production where there's void pockets and little delamination issues. Right off the Blanchard grinder, coming off the mill, sometimes profile machining was tearing a pocket out. And post-heat treat, we were seeing eruptions and different things that I think indicate the exact same issue. And then again, we run into these things post-heat treat in surface grinding, and then back there in surface finishing where these softer bits within the material blow out of the matrix. As I've said, I haven't seen any of this in any of these Bowler or Home Steels, which somebody asked us to show some of those parts. So I'll be doing a lot of surface finishing here with these and some K890, and I'll walk you guys through a lot of parts here, and all you're gonna see is clean, homogeneous material. There's no deviations in it, there's nothing weird, and that's where these materials don't move around. They're third generation particle steels. They stay really flat, they don't grow in any irregular way. It's just a good material. And with these optimized heat treats, LMAX and M390 and K890, they do exactly what they should based on the information on the data sheets. Which I guess I'll follow up here with I saw what looked like a marketing video from a maker defending CPM, which I'd like to open that up with saying, you being successful with the material is not evidence that someone else is not being successful with the material. That's like saying I drive a Toyota truck and I've never wrecked it, so nobody wrecks Toyota trucks. And that's a false equivalency. So when you bring up other companies or other practices as evidence of something, you better know their practices and standards and why they may or may not be seeing something. Some of the things I see as a last step here are driven by my processes, and it does highlight deficiencies. I've talked to other people in other industries. They're starting to see some of these issues, and other people have reached out, talking about the issues. There's Ferrum Forge. They have an imported line that We Knives makes, and We is telling them to expect a 20% loss rate of their folder blades due to voids, which I don't think that's acceptable. If I'd gone into this with these materials, understanding some of the potential deficiencies, I would have never signed up for that. If I'm paying a lot of money per pound for a raw stock, I should be able to use the whole sheet because it's coming out of a larger bar. And if everybody knows what they're doing, you have good processes, you can use all of that material. Part orientation shouldn't really matter. You should be able to use it edge to edge. You're paying for a product, and it should be usable. So being that these are the backbone of our company, we make knives. It takes good blade steel. I demand a very high level of quality. So I looked at that video for a few minutes, and I just wanted to address a few things that the gentleman was saying. What's the one? Oh yeah, so I'm gonna open right up with decarburizing. So let me grab one of those parts real quick. Well, I'll just use this as an example. The decarburizing, after all the investigations came back, yes, this was clearly the liability and the fault of Peter's heat treat. The reason I have not made a big deal of that, and I've mentioned it, but I believe it's a larger issue with poorly published data and just a poor working understanding of what that material really is from the manufacturer. The Magnacut is hypersensitive to decarburizing. For one, I don't think that they roll with enough tolerance all the time to get through their decarb layer, because they also have a process where it's rolled that is going to have a decarb scale on the outside. Since this material is hypersensitive to that, I think sometimes that can penetrate deeper into the sheet than they originally thought. That can cause excessive material warpage. Also, there are handling deficiencies with the material. There's extra stress and things in there, and we're noticing other anomalous things, these voids and different things in the material. I believe since the bar is not homogeneous that the blade is coming out of, when you have these irregularities here under a very fast quench, they're highlighted, so you're going to get irregular growth in different ways that don't make sense to me. If the sheet is stress-free, annealed, everything that they say, where these other materials were not having any of these struggles. So we're learning to work through the last of this, but just given all the things I've seen, I have no interest in continuing to work with CPM Magnacut. And so yeah, with the decarb, that was Peter's Heat Treat's fault, but what they did was learn from it. And I always respect somebody that acknowledges wrong and they're learning. I'm looking at the extent of the issue after speaking to an attorney. I might need to get my insurance involved at the end of the day here because the loss from that was phenomenal. That cost us probably $250,000 or more of lost income potential, and it really hurt our company's reputation and our ability to serve you guys. So I am looking at all options, but I have not made a huge deal out of it because they learned something. You can see on their site they don't really want to work with the material anymore. And they try and guarantee flatness. And since there's these different things going on sometimes that we know behind the scenes, they just don't really want to work with it. It's not the most manufacturable material. Even looking at Larkin Precision, they're suggesting to some of their subcontract grinding customers that they could have up to 30% scrap due to excessive warping and parts being out of tolerance. And it's just not a very commercially viable material. If you're trying to get the best performance out of these materials, they need to be what they say they are. And so far, that's not been my experience. And I'm just seeing how nice these things can be now that we're getting in, more availability of these Bowler and Udahome steels. So yes, the decarb was 100% on Peter's Heat Treat, but coming back here and learning more about the processes and talking with the folks up there, we're doing an amazing job today, and they've acknowledged fault and we're moving on from it. But if I have to get my insurance involved, that's one thing, but I hope we can still be cool. I'm just trying to work it out in different ways, but it is what it is at the end of the day. But again, these voids, I think somebody was saying, well, I didn't see voids. It's process driven, and I've shown that in other videos where this old 20 CV, I used to get these from Larkin Precision Grinding. They did subcontract grinding for us, and I would just get complete blanks. They tumbled them, they ground them, but then I had this stuff come back on warranty here, and these big pockets of stuff blew out. This originally came in for warranty for a fisheye rust spot down here, which the blade looked fine, but I couldn't understand why there was like a circle of rust. I started to grind this back to have a better look at it, and that chunk just came right out of the blade. So from the time this occurred, where I was having this done, I had gotten finishing equipment to address rough grinding and some other things. I was starting to get more involved in the manufacturing at this point. But between here and here, I had our peening finishing starting. So when I got that under there, all these little carbide inclusions blew out of here. This is just a non-homogeneous situation. And you can see in my other video, I think steel quality and why it matters recently, you'll see these little knives in the picture. All these things just came out of the surface, and that's not cool. That's a non-homogeneous situation. So that's what I'm seeing now before parts are leaving the building. So I'm able to, put the part under a little compressive stress, which is fine. It's done in so many daggone industries, in titanium, steel, all kinds of different things. It's a stress relieving process. I just took it from another industry to do this. It makes a nice satin finish and a good base for our stonewash finish. But Under the compression here, I'm learning this helps a little bit with corrosion resistance. This situation also limits the ability to have cracks on the surface. As you're bending your part around, if there's anything from grinding, machining, or small defect in the steel, it helps to increase the fatigue resistance. So you have a more durable part. It has a longer service life under use. You subject a knife to a lot of stresses. So that's where I'm really crazy about the parts being homogeneous and good. I know some of our user base, and they're serious guys. So I want to make sure that I'm giving them something that's going to work, and it's not just a puff marketing piece. So I just have really high standards. And right now I feel like, with the denying of any issues in the face of issues, I don't really want to continue to work with a company like that. This matters to me. So I need to make sure that the company's warranties and things are meaningful, and that our goals are aligned in our manufacturing. And Bowler and Udahome just have a much larger budget. They have more modern facilities, more modern equipment, stricter practices, and that's, if you look down at our scale, we're the same way. So these materials align with our goals and what we're trying to provide for you guys. So that's the reason we're moving over to that. But to me, these voids and things, these materials are completely unacceptable. And then the stance they're taking, the only thing worse that Niagara Specialty Metals could do next is claim that the samples were destroyed or lost somehow. This whole situation is insane. But anyway, like I said, I just want to make knives. So at the end of the day, I want to do whatever's best for you guys. So I do hope they come to some kind of resolution on this, where I don't need to pursue this in other avenues. I'm starting to look around to see if I can get a hold of their insurance company. They can deny, us a warranty, but we're going to have independent evaluations done. And if it shows something that, what I know it's going to show, we're just going to go around them and talk to their insurance about it. But so far, they're withholding all the information while also denying a claim, and they're denying us our materials back so that we can have an independent evaluation done against the samples that they're using to make their claim. I think it's very important to have the exact same samples to verify whatever claims they're making. But if they can't provide the information at all, or even my samples back, that's thrown up a lot of red flags for me. So, if you're holding me hostage to sign an NDA to get any sort of compensation for this, that's a huge red flag to me, and nobody I'm talking to has ever heard of anything like that. So anyway, I've got all these unwrapped. I'm going to start flat plating them, but thanks for listening to my rant here this morning, and I hope you guys are having a great day, okay? We've got a lot of good stuff going on, and some of this other progress is a bit slower, but we are making progress on it, and most things are wrapping up now. So thanks so much for the support, you guys. I know you're really enjoying these. I'm seeing the photos and videos and the feedback on how sharp and poppy they are. So I'm really, really happy with how this is turning out. So have a great day, and we'll talk to you again soon, all right?